Prop 50. Let's talk about it. Here's what I find interesting. Whenever I bring up Prop 50, and I've only, I have a small circle. I don't know a lot of people. I don't have a lot of friends. I've maybe talked to 7 people about it. But I feel like each one of those people, as soon as I said or asked the question, did you actually read the bill? The answers all varied, but they all had the same tone of like I was being insulting. Like that was an offensive question. And that's not my purpose. When I ask, have you actually read the bill? I'm curious because when I hear your opinion on the proposition, I'm curious to know, oh, cool. Hey, free parking. I'm curious to know where you're at as far as like your understanding of it. If the answer to that question is, oh yeah, I've researched it thoroughly and here's where I stand, well then that's good. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to hear. And now I can kind of, the conversation could go further productively. But if the answer is, actually I haven't read it. I'm just going off of some ads that popped up on Instagram or YouTube. So if that's the answer, then I'm not trying to convince anybody to vote yes or no. What I am trying to do is make sure that the small circle of people that I do know are making informed decisions. So if your algorithm on your Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and all that stuff, it wants to get you to look at stuff more. It wants to keep you on that platform. So if you tend to linger on videos that are like anti-Trump, and stuff like that, then they're going to show you more stuff like that. And so if all you're basing your opinion on this proposition is like the anti-Trump rhetoric, which there is some truth to it, and there is some valid points to be said about that. But if that's all you're basing it on, then in my opinion, we should talk. And not so that I can convince you to say yes or no, just so that your yes or your no is a fully informed yes or no. I think that's fair. And what I think is that, man, all the ads you see, it just keeps saying the same thing. This is actually what inspired me to want to look into it more, because I'm actually not a real political person. I mean, I'm starting to, just now at 46 years old, I'm just now starting to even take interest in any of this, but I don't know a lot about it. I know very little. But what I do know is that, like, when I watch Sunday Night Football, or when I'm watching I saw a commercial a couple days ago. It was Obama. Obama's like, the commercials I see, the Gavin Newsom or somebody else that's kind of on the Gavin Newsom team, and they're talking about Prop 50. We need to protect democracy and we need to fight Trump. Everything I've seen that's pro Prop 50 is basically ignoring a big portion of what they're trying to do in the proposition. They're just leaning into the whole, like, man, I know a lot of people hate Trump, so if we just go, hey, we're fighting Trump, they're gonna vote yes. So if we just lean into that, and I get it, it's politics, you don't want to show your hand, I guess. But when you look into it, it's like this. They're not wrong when they say that in Texas, here's the long and short of it. The district lines are drawn by an independent committee that is formed, right? And then they make their decisions based off of the census that is taken every 10 years, which there's flaws in all that anyway. But that is how we've established currently, that's how we say is the fairest way to draw these boundaries, these district boundaries, right? Draw the line. An independent committee draws the lines based off of the census that's formed every 10 years. Redrawing of those lines in between that 10-year period is considered unfair. So yes, Donald Trump, he advocated for it. He wasn't the one that technically did it in Texas, but he definitely, it's part of it benefits him. So he was like, yeah, do it. And he allowed it. Here's the problem. They're going through all kinds of legal bullshit where they may not even, yeah, they already did it, but it's still in the court. Like it might be overturned because they're violating the 1965 Fair Voting Act or whatever when it has to do with minorities and stuff. But, and if Prop 50 is voted into play, they're going to face the same challenges. But to say, here's the issue I have. Whether you say yes or you say no, the fact of somebody saying, well, they did it, so we should be able to do it. Man, that's a strong argument. Let me give you an analogy that I can relate to that emotion. I'm a big Charger fan and an Angel fan. When I watch a Charger game and there's a bad call, like there's a pass interference that negates a 70-yard touchdown for the Chargers, I'm pissed. Fuck that. Like, I'm like, no, that's a bad call. Fire all these refs. The NFL's rigged. Blah, 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 blah. Just upset about it. Reverse that. Whoever we're playing, we get a bad call that reverses their 70-yard touchdown. I'm kind of like, all right, well, hey, fair is fair. Let the refs do what the refs do. So I know what it's like to see an unfair act and be super upset about it when it's against my team, but then see that same unfair act that kind of benefits my team and being like, well, you know, hey, fair is fair. I feel like the hypocrisy in that is like a natural way of being. So when it comes to politics and this tribalistic instinct to like take sides, like either you're a Democrat, you're Republican, however you want to say it, left or right, like I identify as this, that's my team. So when it benefits your team, so like, for example, Texas, and you, see, so that's the other side. I hear people that are the people that are talking and advertising anti Prop 50, saying vote no. They're not talking about tech. They're not like, hey, what about, yeah, I understand, like it benefited us in Texas, but that doesn't mean you guys should be able to. And then the people that are saying voting for it, all they're talking about is Texas. We're like, well, they did it, so we should do it. I feel like there's absolutely no way to do this where you could get the majority of people to go, two wrongs don't make a right. The idea to taint the waters of districting policy. So Texas already did it, which is why California is doing it, which is why other states are going to do it, which is why the whole concept of districting, how it's regulated currently, is maybe done, you know? Instead of somebody saying, you know what, we're going to win this fight fair. Be like, no, this is unfair. We shouldn't be allowed to redraw maps of states, district maps of states, to benefit the people that are drawing the lines. Shouldn't be the people that are drawing them specifically to benefit themselves. So what happened in Texas is wrong and it should be overturned. What's about to happen in California, it should just not happen. Personally, I'm voting no. But again, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, and I don't think my vote really counts. I think the majority of California is going to vote yes. And everybody that I know, if you know me and we've had this talk about this proposition, I'm on board. I'm on board with what you're saying. Your reasoning for voting yes is sound, but you also have to, or you don't have to, but I would say it'd be being honest about it. You would have to say, yeah, this is why I'm voting this way. However, it is wrong to give a politician the power to make changes to policy that benefit his party only. I think that's wrong. I think every step of the political process, whether it's the city government, the state government, the federal government, every step of it, we should all be fighting for, you know, fairness, democracy, all that good stuff. It sounds silly, it sounds corny, but I think that should be what it is. And so, but if you're like, hey, this is, I'm voting this way, don't defend it by saying, I'm voting this way and these are all the reasons why, and not talk about the reasons why you shouldn't vote that way. Because you can have contradictory, you could say, oh, this is the good stuff about it, this is the bad stuff about it. I think the good outweighs it, so that's why I'm voting that way. That's a more honest, I think, point of view. Anyway, that was my little rant. I'm about to go to work now. Beautiful Island Chaffee.